to you are. We had many first generation engineers, engineers that were coming from other countries and moved to the United States. We had people that didn't do well in high school. We had people that did very well in high school. And everyone there had that common theme that we shared at the end of yesterday, which was have big dreams and you'll grow into them. So today is going to be able to showcase a little bit deeper of that into how do you translate those big dreams into the design process, into solving problems as a team, into literally potentially changing the world. So as you're going through this process, make sure that you're not focused only on the particular task at hand, but learning about that whole journey of when you're first presented with a potential challenge or problem, and understanding that you can be a part of that solution and leverage science and technology and teamwork and leadership opportunities and skills to then mold the world around you. Things don't have to stay the way that they are. They don't have to be the way that they've always been. This is your opportunity to start taking steps towards building the world that you want to see in the future. And we'll have some homework for you at the end along that theme of how do you look around the world around you and make some impact in the areas that you care about most. So a couple of housekeeping things before we get started. You should have your engineering design kit. So yesterday we used the white box, It's Not Magic, It's Science kit. You don't need that today. And you also have some swag from SHPE, which you won't need right now either. The rest of the kit is what you'll need for today's engineering design challenge. We're going to need you to be, ready to go in your groups with one laptop per group, and then have your command center link accessible. I want to acknowledge our partners for this particular competition, Kyra, who helped kind of put it all together, as well as the Invention Convention Worldwide, our friends from the Henry Ford Museum, Lucy and Janice. I have had some great opportunities to work with them in the past. It's such a great organization and an opportunity for you all to explore afterwards. If you do have some ideas that you want to bring to life, how could you do that in a very fun way with, tons of support and an absolutely great environment? I've been a judge before for the Invention Convention, and I highly recommend that experience for all of you and your classrooms. And then the last thing I'll share before I hand it over to the team is that anything that we're going to be going over today, if you have any questions, please be active in the chat. Please be engaged and share any thoughts and questions that you have. We'll also be providing all of the important links and materials that you'll be needing afterwards via email to all of the schools. So I'm excited and happy to hand it over to my friends, Lucy and Janice. You guys will be in really great hands, and I'm excited. I'll stick around and see what you'll be coming up with and how you'll come up with creative solutions to this challenge. Thank you, Lucy and Janice.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for having us. And Jay, thanks for a really great setup. You covered so many bases. It's fantastic. So you can probably tell from my accent, I am not from the US, but I am an American citizen. My name's Lucy Howell. I'm the Chief Learning Officer at the Henry Ford, and I get to work on our Invention Education program, Invention Convention Worldwide, here with the team. I was an engineer, so I'm one of those global engineers, but actually started working as a science teacher many years ago, and have kind of been in education ever since. We're going to be your guides on this engineering design challenge this morning. I'm joined by Janice, who is my colleague. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Janice Warju. I am a retired high school teacher, but I was a social studies teacher for a little over 30 years and have been working at the Henry Ford for actually 17 years because my summer job was here as a Model T driver. So my students always thought I had the coolest summer job you could ever have. And I got the chance a few years ago, 4 years ago now, to help out on a couple of projects in learning and engagement. And so I am now the coordinator for learning content and development and get the chance to work with a terrific boss right here.
Well, thank you for that. All right, so we're going to actually move on. I'm going to start sharing my screen because we're going to be taking you through this challenge And we'll be using a PowerPoint deck just to kind of help out with that process. Let me get it up and running. Here we go. You should be seeing it come up now. So if you can pop in the chat, if and when it's up, that'd be great. Looks like Jay's giving me the thumbs up. Fantastic. Okay, so we're going to be using this as a way of getting us through our time together. Okay, so we have set up a design challenge that is based on a real life, real world potential engineering experience. We've tried to mirror it as much as possible. So the next 2 hours would be reflective of the kind of things that you would experience in an emergency engineering design situation. You're going to spend some time working on a hands-on project. You'll be taken through and introduced to the 7 steps of invention and the engineering design piece of that, the design, building, and testing. And we're going to also have some fun together, because I think the wonderful thing about engineering is you get to work with other people, you get to think about, bring your talents to a team and solve to real life problems every single day. And even I, in my job at this museum, get to do that all the time. So just because I'm not in engineering doesn't mean I'm not engineering every single day in my work. So we are going to start with some breaking news. And at this point, I'm actually going to unshare my screen because we're going over to our roving reporter who is in the field right now.
Good morning. A tractor trailer carrying nuclear waste has reportedly been overturned on the NASA Causeway Bridge. The state police are at the scene of the accident, and they have begun evacuating people within miles of the accident due to a nuclear waste spill. Let's check out the bridge right now.
Okay, let's see. I'm just trying to figure that out. Excuse me, everybody. I'm struggling to share my screen again. Can you see it, Kyra? Has it come up?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, so this is coming back to the table. This is the report. There is a tractor trailer. It is actually based on this bridge, the NASA Causeway Bridge in Orlando, Florida, and a nuclear waste spill has occurred on that tractor trailer. The traffic is almost cleared from what we are hearing, but we do have an important communication from the Department of Environmental Protection. That report is asking for companies to come together and with teams and identify a potential solution for the cleanup of this waste spill, of this nuclear waste spill. While we've been able to protect the public in that area for right now, this is an emergency situation. We need some of the best minds across the US to work on this problem so that we can actually find a working solution. So your challenge in each of your school companies, that's how we're thinking of it. Each of the schools that are represented here today, you represent a company that we're reaching out to solve this problem. Some companies have teams in those companies, so multiple teams. Some of the companies only have one team who are going to work on this problem. But what we're asking you to do is work together in your teams to design a solution that will actually clean up this nuclear waste. You need to consider very carefully the dangers that are involved in the nuclear waste cleanup, specifically for your own health and for the health of the people who are in that vicinity and will be part of the cleanup operation with you. You also need to consider the environment in which this is happening, because it is over the India River. We do not want that nuclear waste to get into that river. You will be given equipment necessary to help with the cleanup operation. You will also be given mock materials that reflect the nuclear waste itself. And that will be part of how you develop your design, your team's design, so that's representing your company. You need to ensure that for the entire time that you are developing your design, you stay away from the nuclear material, which means even the material that is being representative of that nuclear waste, you need to stay clear of that, because you have to mimic in your design what would be happening out on the in the real world. So your hands and feet must be at least 1 meter away from the nuclear material at all times. And your teachers are really going to be the safety facilitators at your company today. They're going to be responsible for monitoring your team's development, that your design follows the guidelines of this challenge. And they will also be helping to identify who will be representing your company at the final outcome of this design challenge. In the material kits that you have, you will find a whole set of materials that will help you develop your cleanup resource. There's tape, paper clips, rubber bands, scissors, markers, paper towels, rulers, a 1 meter ruler, cotton balls, popsicle sticks, paper and folders. You can use any or all of those materials. You can also look around your classroom, work with your safety manager, i.e. your teacher, if there are other materials that you think might help in the design and prototype of this particular solution. So a couple of things to note. The nuclear waste in your kits, the thing that is representing the nuclear waste are the marbles. This is one for the safety officers. If there's, for any reasons, no marbles, you can use bouncy balls or other materials that are similar, but you should have those marbles in your kit. You can also, you've got to figure out how you're going to get that nuclear waste, those marbles, into what would be a container. On the ground, that container would be some kind of truck that has reinforced steel. In your design challenge and your prototype development, that is actually going to be some kind of bowl, cup, or Tupperware that is that your safety officer, your teacher has with them. So you need to design your apparatus on paper together and really start building out some ideas very, very quickly, and then start working on actually developing the prototype. We'll tell you how long you've got for this initial design time in a moment. Again, the most important piece is that you do not touch the nuclear waste material or the marbles, in this case, that represent that material. You must stay at least 1 meter away at all times. So right now, all of those materials have been delivered to you by the Department of Environmental Protection. They've been delivered to your company school, and you are going to have the opportunity in teams in those companies to develop your solution, your apparatus solution to that engineering challenge. You have one chance to recover those marbles and to get them into that container, that safety container, because we do need to evacuate that area. So you need to start thinking and developing with your team what your design will be. You're going to have at least one team member that's working on kind of building those materials. And I think this slide basically gives a summary of each of those things. So you're going to work in those groups, design your nuclear waste removal apparatus. You're going to develop it as a team, and you're going to have at least one member work on the actual material building. The marbles represent nuclear waste, and you must always remain, most importantly, 1 meter away from that waste. So I said we would give you a timer for how long you have to actually build that, that design. You have 10 minutes to work as a team to come up with the design and to build your prototype. What will happen right now is this is the time where you get to work with your command centers. So you are not on your own. The environmental agency has actually provided the command centers and facilitators at those command centers to support you. So when you go into your breakouts, that's who will be in those spaces with you. In 10 minutes, you will come back to this main Zoom and you will get an update. And so we can keep track of where everybody is at. We're going to set the timer. We'll give everybody about a minute just to get themselves sorted. Safety officer teachers, this is for you, just to make sure you can give any further instructions, and then we'll set the timer. Are there any questions at this point? And I will tell you, I cannot actually see the chat, so I'm going to come out of the share screen. Okay.
Do we have any questions?
Doesn't look like we've got any questions. So with that, we will ask you to move to, yes, sorry, Jay.
I do see a question if they go to the other Zoom link.
Sorry, what's the question?
Do they go to the other Zoom link now is a question that they put inside the...
Yes, that's exactly right. They need to go to their command center Zoom link, which is the other Zoom link. And in 10 minutes, the safety officers, their teachers will bring them back to this main Zoom call to get an update.
Okay. Another question I see is the bin inside the circle? Not sure what that means exactly.
I'm not sure what that means either. I think it might mean, is the container that the marbles go in, does that need to be with it? Can that be within the 1 meter area? The answer is yes, it can. You can drive the, we could drive the steel container within that space. It's just ensuring that you aren't in that area or any of your team members.
Okay, yeah, they clarified the containment bin. Is it inside the radiation zone?
Yes.
It can be.
That's all I see in terms of questions.
Fantastic. Okay, we will then come back to the share screen and we will set that timer going. And we've got, right, so it's 10:24. All right.
No, I'm trying not to. You can't find music that fits from all of the computer, right? So I tried to find some like obnoxious elevator type music that's not.
So just to let you know, I've lost the ability to pull up chat when I went to shared screen. Any ideas how I undo that?
So I still see your screen. You stopped sharing the presentation, but I think your screen is still being shared. Like I see your desktop right now, I believe.
All right, it's like Zoom is shut down in one area. I wonder if it's here. No. There we go. I've got it.
There you go.
Yay! It was on my other screen, so I hadn't
Oh,
picked it up. There you go.
No worries.
So we are well within, we have like minutes ahead.
That's great.
So we're good. That is good because that gives extra time.
Can you see my cursor?
Yeah, it's on
All right, this is a coffee and water time. We've got, just so everybody knows, we'll pull them back at 10:34.
Okay, thank you.
Jay, we should have sent you a set.
Yeah, it would have actually been fun to try out my own design right now as well. Next time.
Actually, so we did this with some teachers remotely. So all the teachers were in different places, and they actually gave each other instructions over video, and they had they had me make it.
That's pretty cool.
That was actually quite fun. Different kind of problem to solve too.
Yeah. I've always been interested. When I was in high school, every single STEM activity was a paper, or either a paper tower or a marshmallow tower. For whatever reason, like that was the thing. And we got really good at building paper towers because that's what everyone was doing. So it's good to see.
We have a really good paper airplane with paper clips.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So how many, you got to design your airplane and it's got to carry passengers, and how many passengers can you carry on your plane? So, and it's still, and fly the farthest. So
I think that was.
So yesterday we had we had 2 people from Boeing and 1 from Lockheed. So I think they would have liked that one in terms of the presenters.
Yeah, actually, not to give it away, but the best we've ever seen is someone at one team actually made a flying saucer. So they actually made, it wasn't, so we say paper aircraft purposefully. Yeah. And it was by far the best design. It was really interesting. Cool. They could load paper clips into that thing and send it.
Yeah, actually, it flew far.
That's awesome. Did they throw it kind of like a frisbee, or how did it?
Yeah, they threw it like a frisbee.
That's awesome.
It was really cool, and it was one of those moments where you see a group of people. Like I think it was our own staff actually who did it. Just blow out what was the mainstream thinking. It was fantastic. Awesome. Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah. You actually, genuinely, you should take a look in our curriculum areas, because we've got a lot of those kind of activities. So if you're looking for something different, or just dive into the in-hub curriculum and pull from there anything that kind of catches your interest. And happy to take you through it sometime, Jay, of how we've got it organized and where you can find different things. So.
Yeah, that would be great. I'd love to learn more about what's in there and how people have leveraged it.
It's nice because it doesn't require any big preparation. They're all designed to use a small number of materials.
That's good, especially during years where it's been a little bit more, this last year and a half, it's been a little bit more challenging to be able to have those kind of experiences. It's nice to be able to just grab a couple items and go and have a good learning experience. One of the things I saw from the tower building, it was actually, I think it was specifically the spaghetti and marshmallow ones, but they did this study on different age groups of people and how they did. Mm-hmm. And kindergartners ranked very high. Mm-hmm. Because they weren't afraid to try something and watch it fail and then adjust, versus groups like CEOs or college students, or I don't know, people that were taking it a little bit too seriously maybe and wanted all their time focused on there's pretty design, and then they find out once they actually try to start putting it together that, hey, this marshmallow is a little heavier than than we thought. They hadn't tested out anything along the way. So it's pretty cool to see that kind of natural lack of fear early on from the kindergartners. They're just like, okay, let's figure this out, let's test it out and see what happens, leading to them having a lot better success.
I think I was actually facilitating teacher training on that, on the marshmallow challenge. Oh God, I mean now 2007, 2008. And it was really interesting to watch. I think they found like business graduate students were actually the worst, like just because they wouldn't, that it's that bending, like not bending the rules, but being very clear about what is the parameters of this, and
not willing to take a risk.
Yeah.
Or challenge.
Okay. Or think differently about, kind of like the UFO example, think differently about how this might look.
All right, so that's my favorite. We talk about habits and actions at the Henry Ford.
Yeah.
So my favorite habit, if you can, I'm trying to change the is learn from failure.
Yes.
I would love to see a group, like when we do conferences and they always have the icebreakers, professional conferences, to do something like this, because we all get so set in the way we do things. A lot of times, once we've been doing it for 20 something years, that I wonder how this would go with, grown engineers who've been doing this for years. How well are we going to cooperate in a challenge like this, rather than the, icebreakers about tell us something about you. This would be, I think, eye-opening and quite challenging.
I think Alicia's asking us to stop distracting everybody, because apparently they've still got it on in the classroom. So
we've got 1 minute.
We've got 1 minute. So actually, Alicia, maybe can we ping the command centers and let them know that there's 1 minute to coming back as a whole group? I'm just going to read this. Okay, if our teacher for safety facilitators are listening, it's time to come back to get an update in the main room. If you can just put in the chat when you've jumped on and when your company teams are ready for this update, that would be great. I need to stop moving. Dunbar High School, thank you very much. It's great to have you back. Madison East, thank you so much. It's great to have you in. Again, for those teachers who and our safety officers who are listening in to the main Zoom, if you can jump back in, that would be great. And to our volunteers, yes, please stay on standby because this is just an alert update. There'll be opportunities to go back out to breakout rooms in a moment. Okay, I think so far we've got 2 of the schools back. I'm hoping we can see some more jump on. If you have been able to get your teams back onto the main conversation, can you just pop it in the chat for me? So far, I think we have Dunbar High School and Madison East.
Oh, they were looking for-
Okay, we're still waiting on the return of some of our companies to get an update from the Environmental Protection Department. So if you can, safety officers in classrooms, if you can bring people back to the main Zoom, that would be fantastic. Command center volunteers, if you can activate that too, that would be great. So far we have 2 schools, 2 companies back.
Yes, we should have this open.
So I think St. Cloud, if you come back to the main Zoom, you'll be able to hear us better. So just take a moment, step away from the command center and come back to the main Zoom. Okay, it looks like we're good to move forward. So here is the update. And this is an update for all of the company teams. It's also an update for the facilitators in the command center and for our safety officers who are the teachers. We have been informed that we are approaching the exposure limit. So we've only got 5 more minutes for designs to be perfected. So wherever your design is at, now is the time to perfect it and have it ready for testing. So you have 5 minutes. It won't be a megaphone. I'll just send out a note again through command centers and through the chat and let you know on this Zoom. But we're going to move and reset the timer for a 5-minute breakout. So go back to your command centers, optimize your designs, and be ready to test them in your classrooms in front of your other teammates in a moment. Here we go.
Oh, no, it's 'cause we turned our sound down. Music.
So we are at full time. So if everybody can come back to the main Zoom, that would be great. And if we could do a final roll call for all of those who come back in. So again, as the safety officers or the teachers in each of the companies or schools come back on, if you can just roll call, let us know what schools are back onto the main Zoom. And we will be staying here for the rest of the time. Excellent, thank you. ETHS, Madison East, awesome. Dunbar, groups 1 through 4, thank you so much. St. Cloud, we're here, that's wonderful. It's great to have you back. So I think we're just waiting on high tech. Unless Colonial jumped on after we got started. Oh, high tech is here. Fantastic. Thank you, high tech. It came in through the Q&A for us. That's awesome. All right. Shamli here. That's fantastic. Okay, so this is, we're about to head into our next piece because if this had gone out live to companies, what they would need to do is actually prepare themselves to pitch their ideas. Some companies that have